So we're getting right to some of the reactions that have trailed the president's visit to Benue. Some people felt that he did not have, the somberness which such a visit deserved. And one of those people is the presidential candidate of the SDP in the 2023 elections, Prince Adebayo. He wrote a post on his social media handle saying that the Benue town hall meeting with the president was grossly sickening. He says our entire governmental doctrine and leadership mentality in Nigeria needs a thorough revamp, and our people desperately need mental liberation. How could the emphasis be on the 2027 election and little on the sadistic massacre? The bulk of the speech is on the sacrifice official Abad had to make to promptly respond to the killing instead of critical questions about failure of leadership and breach of constitutional duty to secure the citizens. No observer would believe that the people of this great state have just suffered a dastardly and gruesome massacre merely a few days ago. Well, the criticism goes on, but he is right here in our studios today, and we want to examine that, that criticism and also other matters that are currently happening within our nation polity. This morning, we have in our studios Prince Adebayo Adewale. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Good morning, and God bless Nigeria.
Indeed, God bless Nigeria, and God bless the people of Benue State as well. This was a criticism that you had on your social media handle shortly after it was being widely reported by a lot of media houses. But some people will say that isn't this a little harsh, given the fact that some of the things that happened in the state, the president had little or no control over them.
Okay, thank you. My sympathy to the government and people of Benue State again, and the same thing with the almost forgotten people of Bokos and other places in Plateau State and many parts of the country where this massacre, killing, kidnapping, banditry go on and on. What is clear is that the president cannot say he did not know or has no control over the state. He is the governor general of every state in Nigeria. So he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And these things that are happening in many parts of the country, especially in Benue and Plateau, they are things which are supposed to be the daily features in his security reports that he receives. That's why he's commander-in-chief.
Oh, pardon me, let me clarify my question. When I meant control, I wasn't talking about the security. It does appear that your criticism bordered around what some have termed the fanfare that preceded the president's visit. That was what I was referring to.
Okay, what I see is it's a general pattern where the president politicizes everything. If he's going to commission a road, it's going to be, there's always this cartoonish aspect that has to do with singing and all of that. He goes to National Assembly in a country where people are suffering, and he's making some efforts, but those efforts have not yielded significant results yet. And people feel these things, and when he goes there, they sing these various anthems that they wax all the time. Now, they've now gone one step beyond reason by going to a place of mourning, place of massacre, where even during Nigeria's civil war, it would be newsworthy if there was 200 lives lost at one time. And when he was giving awards on June 12 and all the struggle, there was no time during the resistance to the military that the military or anyone killed 200 people at a go. So such a place is a somber occasion. And he's in charge of all the people who followed him there. And what do you get there? It's like another political rally. And that somberness is not there. And some of the theater they were doing there with the chief of defense staff giving the president a salute, those are the things they should have done in the situation room, what they wanted to do. And the president, I think, should have gone there as a chief mourner. And language should have been sober, and the responses should have been better controlled, and he should have made sure, come rain, come shine, come anything, that he got to the venue of the attack. Yelwata, he gets there and he sees the people. You cannot say as commander-in-chief that there's a part of the country that's unreachable by you. People are living there, and you left them there, and you are responsible for their welfare there. So I think, as a whole, the notion that by merely going to Benue, which is a place where his heart should be, as the commander-in-chief of armed forces, that merely going there is enough sacrifice. And some of the commentaries there, and his own reaction to it did not do anything to suggest to the people that my priorities are with those who have been killed. I know them by name, because as commander-in-chief, I will know all of these details before going there.
Well, which of the reactions now?
It's the general atmosphere, even the speech he made, the content of it.
Is it at the venue or the
in that hall, which looks like a banquet? The whole setting is not the setting you would find for morning. Even the effort they put to it, the whole staging of it is not sympathetic enough and is not appropriate enough. And that's our approach, that's our understanding of that, and does not portray to the president that he understands that using that visit is to address all these similar issues, because God forbid, and we pray it doesn't happen. If it happens elsewhere, is he going to carry the same theater to those places? So when you go on an occasion like that, you set the tone. You let people know that you understand the situation. You clearly identify and indicate some solutions to them, even if you don't give all of it. And the whole business looks like this is a place of mass death. And the head of the family is here. And that's if you play that tape again 100 times, you will not have that feeling at all.
All right,
it looks like any other event.
Let's talk about
commissioning
some of the things
or anything
that you feel should have been done.
Yes.
So let's start from because it's the way it looks, isn't it?
Yes.
Intentions really don't.
The optics.
The optics of it
Yes.
is what you're really looking at.
Yes.
All right. So let's start from when he landed in Benue. How do you think he should have handled? In what way would he have come off as sympathetic? Because the truth is, when people have died in this sort of situation, it's very difficult in many ways for you to actually meet the expectations of everyone, especially when people have died. So let's hear your thoughts on how he should have conducted himself from the airport to the event where he had the tortive and everyone speaking up.
The basic thing is that you should realize that those people died because of you. Because you are the commander-in-chief of armed forces. You are the one running the police, running the armed forces. If you had done your duty, the people working for you in uniform and out of uniform had done their duty, that thing will not have happened. So the first thing you do is to take responsibility. And then you let your protocol people know that I'm going to this event. I'm going only with people who are relevant to security and the local people there.
Okay.
And as we are going, make sure that you have given me sufficient briefing about the families who were lost, their names. I am not the commander-in-chief yet, but I have the names, family by family. Which family lost, how many people. I have some names. And the president will have verified those. Make sure that in anything we are doing, select members of these families. Let us be like, as if I lost members of my family. I've been bereaved before. I know how I will conduct myself if I lost members of my own family. I will not go there with fanfare. I will interact with them. I will get information. How did it happen? You talk to the people. They will see you interacting with the victims and the survivors yourself. And then you indicate, and then the leaders who are there, they will let them know, President is not coming here as a politician. He's coming here as the head of the family. He's coming, this is the head of state function. Remember, I keep saying there are 3 functions in that office. You are head of state, you are chief executive, you are commander-in-chief.
So this hall should have had victims' families.
Victims' family mainly. And the rest of the fanfare should have been cut down. Indication will have been given to traditional ruler political people. Now, taking children, asking them to lie on the street and wait for some. This is not Independence Day. This is not Democracy Day. This is not you coming to give them roads or food or something. This is you coming to say, I am sorry, I failed you. The governor of the state will also take a cue from you and say, we failed you. These are steps we need to take. You are not behaving like a foreign dignitary who is coming to, even foreign dignitaries, even the Pope. If the Pope had come, he wouldn't come and conduct a mass and make it look like he's doing
one thing that people have pointed to in that particular town hall meeting was when he spoke to the Inspector General of Police and to the Chief of Defense Staff and to the intelligence agency heads. You know, and that statement he made to the Inspector General of Police is one that, I don't know if people got that, but I think a lot of people understood when he said no arrest has been made. That was very telling
And in many ways, some people have said, well, we didn't know that. We didn't know that there was no arrest made at all. You know, so isn't that something that points to some kind of level of demanding accountability from his security chiefs? And you could see on their faces when he was saying that they know a reprimand when they hear one. Reprimanding them like that, you don't think that was a good thing?
No, that's a failure of his own commander-in-chief position. It shows that the president may have other good qualities, but totally not a good commander-in-chief. Because before you go there, you will know whether arrests have been made. This commander-in-chief thing is not a joke. It's not the same thing as being chairman of a party or wearing a agbada like I'm doing now. If I'm president, I know what is going on, how many vehicles pass a road. Unless it's not relevant to me, the information is there. The information apparatus who are paying billions and trillions of naira for this kind of information, you will know who has not been arrested. You will have gotten pictures of the area where the people went to. If they went to a foreign country, within 24 hours, you will be in touch with the foreign country. You will know it's not there, that you will behave like a pedestrian and be asking, no arrest has been made. No, you will know if arrest has been made, if there has been investigation, if there has been any...
Well, I don't think he said it because he didn't know. I think in many ways, you know, saying it out there was, I think in many ways showing that you're not doing well as Inspector General of Police on this particular matter.
Thereby showing that he is not doing well himself as Commander-in-Chief, because normally, if there's any aspect, if, for example, if arrests have been made, security may not want to tell you that arrests have been made because they may affect their investigation. If you want to communicate to the people, you communicate that, one, we are sorry, two, we are on it. So if you need to let the people know that arrests have not been made, it's not that you'll be asking your Commander-in-Chief, your police head, is talking to you in public, you are the boss. Even if you say something that is not correct, yes, sir. If you tell a soldier anything, he'll give you a salute, yes, sir. Police, same thing. But if you want to communicate to the people, you have to ask them, whether you communicate confidence to them that we are on it. That kind of question is appropriate for that. If you want to communicate that you need their cooperation, then you let them know, please give us more information. We know we are bereaved, but please come forward, give us more information.
The Chief of Defense Staff had an engagement in the FCT after the president's visit, and it was very poignant hearing him say something that I've heard a lot of security heads say over the years. He said, we are doing the kinetic bit of this job, but the non-kinetic bit of this security work takes up over 70%, he said. That's what he said yesterday. Take the non-kinetic aspect when we're trying to fight insecurity. The non-kinetic aspect takes up over 70% of the work that has to be done. That, in my mind, is the security chief telling us, look, the poverty levels, the part of it that doesn't, we can do the combating. But when it comes to the root causes of insecurity, those are non-kinetic, and the ball is being dropped in that area. What do you make of that assertion? It's not just about, at least it's not just about catching terrorists. If we have an issue, underlining issue, why isn't that being handled by those who should handle that?
You see, first, the protocol of politics is that an aspiring commander-in-chief, a politician, should not criticize people in uniform who are risking their lives. And so I wouldn't criticize the Chief of Defense Staff, but I will criticize the Commander-in-Chief who appointed him. The whole setting that they are giving there is not a sign of seriousness. Killing of people is kinetic, if we are going to use their language. Because they think that now that they are spending a lot of security budget, they should also be bringing security vocabulary to the public. The public wants to be safe. Kinetic, non-kinetic. The killing of people, the movement of logistics of people who can kill 200 people in a flash, going around, all of that is kinetic. There are many parts of the world, and there are parts of Nigeria, where poverty is endemic, but lives relatively safer. So it is not the poverty that is making you not to know ahead of time that there has been some surveilling of some communities, that large troops of people are coming there. There is an unusual activity of people being housed, being given petrol, other things that they use, being given other logistic support, food and everything, and they're massing around. And there is a lot of investment we've made in several coverage of Nigeria. And Benue is a regional center for our Air Force, so we can always do air surveillance and everything. And that you're not reading your estimates, and that any person who has any national network he sees a lot of information. As I'm here now, I receive a lot of information, because if I tell an SDP person, help me go to one community and do this and that, he will tell you, oh, this road is not safe. Oh, there's a problem there. So there's a lot of information coming. The non-kinetic side is also the president's problem, because if he's not commander-in-chief this hour, he's chief executive. He's supposed to provide. Long and short of it is that there's no excuse you can give. There's no word in the dictionary you can give to explain why and justify why, one, you would not know that these areas that are tense, some of the factors are known. If you ask me now, I can give the one that is not too sensitive to you, that there are 3 factors working there. There are 3 factors of infiltration of communities by marauding groups who either want to retain people's land, displace people on land, and all of that, who are going around. Some of them have reprisals that they want to do because of previous interaction unresolved. For example, the one in Bokos was related to an event that happened 2 years earlier, which the government said they were going to deal with. And those who were killed recently in Bokos, we have not satisfied them. So they too might be thinking, okay, we'll wait for the government another 1 year. If they don't, we too will retaliate. Second, we have communal issues. Because of the fluidity of these communities, you will see places, you will see that both the farmers and to a larger extent, a quicker extent, the herders like to move from place to place, where society is not static, where we farm here this season, we go further down to farm next season, or we carry animals around. Geography changes quickly, and people can be confused as to what method they can use to retain advantage over each other, and killings start. Thirdly, there is an element of politics there, where the political leadership, rather than collaborating together to help resolve the problem, are using this insecurity to score political points and say, okay, you say you are not going to govern with me, even though we plan the governing together or politics together. Okay, I'm going to make sure I don't give you federal assistance. So I want to make sure you fail.
That's why it's a little confusing when you criticize the traditional rulers, because you said the traditional rulers felt that they had to pledge their massive support for official Abat in the 2027 elections on this somber occasion. Is both pathetic and undignified.
Yes.
That's what you said. But, you know, I listened to the entirety of the speech of the Tortive.
Yeah.
And, you know, largely what I got out of it was, you know, finding a way to speak with courage to the commander-in-chief, but at the same time, presenting what you truly feel in a manner that he can accept it. He would listen to you and not shut down. He talked about four A's that he was going to be, you know, giving the president: appreciation, appeal, assurance, etc., etc. And he had the courage to say what the people of Benue had been saying for a time. And he talked about this sort of information that the president was getting from his security briefings. He thought that it was causing a misdiagnosis, which was what was informing the speech. That they keep getting every time such an attack occurs: communal, learn to live with your brothers, tolerance, etc., etc. He thinks that is not the situation, and he tells the president that this is a calculated, well-planned, full-scale genocidal invasion of their land. So I'm wondering what exactly informed this criticism that you had for traditional rulers.
Okay, it was a lamentation of the state, the undignified state of traditional rulers. Not really about criticism of them in particular. You cannot be commander-in-chief. I cannot be commander-in-chief that I don't talk to the chief regularly. Because as commander-in-chief, whether there is a crisis or there is no crisis, you have a selection of traditional rulers you must talk to, religious leaders you must talk to regularly. You have dinner with them regularly. You have consultation with them regularly. Each of them, the first-class ones, should have an ability to call you directly as commander-in-chief, or call 1 or 2 people close to you if they can't reach you. This is the standard work of commander-in-chief, given the complexity of governance in Nigeria. And when this event occurred, between the president, the commander-in-chief, and the third chief, who is the head, who is the traditional head of all the people affected, and the governor, and the commissioner of police there, and the DGDSS, there will have been a lot of interaction. Some of the things that the third chief is saying to the president in the open, they will have done the interaction. In fact, as president, I will have had a private session. We, the Tortive and the serious people, so that we can talk to ourselves frankly in camera before we now go out and assure the people. So the idea now is that the traditional rulers have been put in a place where The president is appearing to them like a foreign guest, and they are having to pour all they have to say in the short message in the public. So as a result of that, and they are not familiar with the president enough to see, because of that failure of leadership by the president, to have interaction with them and gain their comfort. Now they are now thinking, like, okay, how do I communicate with this person? It's a politician. So even though I'm communicating what affects my people to him, somehow I know he has an ego problem, so I need to kind of also play to his politics, which is now taking the traditional ruler outside their comfort zone. Because the traditional ruler is a father, and is able to speak the truth to you without having the need to assuage your feelings and give you sugarcoating. And I see it repeatedly wherever traditional rulers are being brought, either to launch, commission a road, or to play any interaction with government. There is this element where they end their story by saying, we are going to vote for you, we are going to, which is totally a taboo. And that is more painful on occasion like this, where lives have been lost, and the traditional ruler should have been the chief host and the president and the chief mourner, and the president will have come there to mourn with them and then have time. Traditional rulers have a lot of information, and they have code of conduct and ethics of what they can say, what they cannot say. So my advice to Mr. President, I hope there is no other visit to massacre and all of that, but try to be in touch with traditional rulers. They have a lot of information they may not give to the governor of the state because of local politics, which they will give to you. From time to time, pay unannounced private visits to them. Let them come and see you privately. Let them have access to you. Some of these ideas will have been given to the president before he made his own speech, before the authority had to react to say, sir, with due respect, let me correct what you are saying. The authority or...
The president will always speak last. I'm sure he was reacting.
No, the president spoke earlier before going to the event. You know, when the thing occurred, the president, I think, was commissioning some FCT project. And when he was announcing that he was going to change his schedule and go to Benue instead of Kaduna, he made some comments. Indeed, regarding that subject, which shows that he had not listened to the people affected before making that comment. And that comment did not go down with the authority, and he courageously went to correct the president. At the same time, because of that obligatory pressure that they give to traditional rulers to always now add a bit of politics to kind of switching the truth for the politicians. And that aspect is what I criticize. Not that the traditional rulers themselves are the people who are the object of the criticism, that they had to feel like that, that they had to be put in such a situation. The way the president has organized the interaction was what led to that bit.
Let me quickly take you up on the issue of what he said, the 40th, which is, you know, it really stands out for me when he talks about a calculated, well-planned, full-scale genocidal invasion. And you have listened. You listened to the president. The commissioner is here in Abuja. You also, I'm sure, you saw the speech given by his special advisor on public affairs, Mr. Adebayo, in the wake of what happened in Yelwata. And there's been serious pushback by the people of Benue. Now that they've had the courage to come out to say that this is what they believe is happening in their state, that they believe this is an attempt to wipe them out and take over their lands. What do you think the president, commander-in-chief, should be doing to people who feel that they're facing an existential threat? If really that is not the situation, how do you think they can actually change the narrative?
It is difficult to say that subjectively that's not the situation, because that is the evidence that they have. That's the feeling. And it's not only in Benue. If you go to Plateau, you will see it. If you go to a bit of anywhere in what we call the Middle Belt, you will see it in many parts. And if you go to Zamfara and other places in the upper Savannah, you will feel the same way. I think that the president should not be receiving this information as if they are new pieces of information. If you look at the pattern of troop movement, pattern of violence, if you put them on a map, and you will see that there are certain territories where these activities take place. The feeling in Plateau is even worse, because I've gone to communities in Plateau where crises like this happen, and I interact with them, and they give you evidence that they have. They mention name. If you go to Borno, they will tell you, look at how what is so-called Boko Haram is being reorganized, reassembled. Look at how this particular person from this community who had stopped this activity has now gone back to be doing the activity. They will give you a lot of information. President needs to know that this commander-in-chief is a very hard job. You have to give away some other things. You have to give some of your politics to other political operatives to do for you. Spend 6 months and put together a proper plan, one, to gain a foothold in your territory, so that when these unsafe areas, relatively unsafe areas, wake up in the morning, they see the law. They see that the closest person to them is law enforcement. And that if they have any concern, they don't need to run away or agitate, they will immediately reach law enforcement. If the law enforcement below is on the ground is not behaving well, they have access to brigade commanders, police commissioners, directorate of DSS and all of that. And that if the people who are professional fail, they can talk to their leaders, like the traditional rulers, like the religious leaders, like the government, and they can reach to the commander-in-chief in Abuja. If you put that in place, and every community knows what number to call, that feeling is going to go down. Secondly, you have to have a change. As you have a change of command, you must also have a change of responsibility. If something happens in a particular geography, somebody's head has to be chopped off among those who are responsible. Because a chain of command that's why they salute you when you arrive. That's why you give them instruction. That's why you give them resources. There must also be a chain of responsibility. If you are in charge of a particular zone and there are sectors under it and you put people there, like this Yelwata now, who is going to face court martial? Who is going to face orderly rule? Who is going to face investigation? Where is the investigation panel set up? Where is the judicial inquiry set up? These are tools for obtaining accountability. So when people feel like whether it's supported by evidence or not, or just sentiment, or just a general commonsensical analysis of patterns, there will be an inquiry where they will go there. That inquiry would deal with it. There will be an inquiry at the federal level. There will be an inquiry at the state level. There will be other NGOs like the Catholic Church and other people that you will allow them to do their own investigation, assist them, so that you can collapse all of this information together and have a white paper that will speak to the people, because you need to give accountability. And you would, in the inquest, for the killing of each person, because under the law, each of those people killed, Nigeria owes them an accountability of how they lost their life. So if any of their children, grandchildren come up 100 years from now, they will say, my family were affected by a massacre in Yelwata. My grandfather was killed. This is what the government said about it. This is the compensation we were paid for it. This is the measure taken. And it's because of this that these laws and measures have been taken. But if you just do this political theater and then keep quiet, and God forbid, you wait for another thing to happen in another location, and then we start debating, should the president go there or not go there, and then we start all over again, because people are forgetting Bokos. They are forgetting that in Sokoto State, the Seriki of Gobi was killed, was captured with his son and was killed, and up till now, there is neither Sokoto State nor the federal government has explained. And you know better than I do as a journalist, you can go back to the beginning of President Tinubu's presidency, you can go back to Buhari's presidency, you can go back to Goodluck Jonathan's presidency from Chibok gets up to now. No resolution. If you are an expert in defense, in security services, in the history generally, in civics, you cannot say, this killing here, this is the conclusion. This killing here, this is the conclusion. And that is why it becomes a pattern. It looks like if there's pressure against the president, so much pressure, it may feel like, okay, it is politically
motivated.
Yeah, let me just go, do a little bit of theater, and that's the last of it. And that should not be the case, and that is what the commander-in-chief should do to assure the people, and they won't feel like they're about to be killed or genocided in their own country. Well,
Prince Adebayo, we wish we had a little more time. We had a lot of things we wanted to discuss with you, but we believe that we will invite you back again because we have to talk about the polity in general, the state of defections, the state of opposition, political parties, etc., etc. But we have to thank you for coming in this morning and sharing your thoughts on the killings in Yelwata.
Thank you, and God bless Nigeria, and God comfort all the affected people.
Amen. Well, he is a lawyer and also a former presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party. We'll take a break at this point. We'll be back shortly to look at another matter affecting us all in just a moment. Please stay with us.